Okay, I'll have the chat in front of me as well, so you are welcome to write as we go through this. I call this session "Become a Better You with Technology." And if you've been following me for a while, then you know that I've been training on all kinds of different subjects like AI and smartphones. Today is a different session. There will be not a lot of demonstrations. I will have some demonstrations for you, but not a lot. It's really a thinking session, something that we want to do together. And I do encourage you to write to me in the chat, because I will be asking you all kinds of questions. So get a pen and paper. This is important so that you can take good notes. I will mention a lot of different technologies and a lot of things that you can go into after we are done. But as an introduction, I want to say that I'm starting really a much broader type of training in what you're going to get from me in the future. So not very long ago, a huge technological breakthrough was made. What we now know as generative AI, or artificial intelligence. And it's really one of the great improvements for our lives. And I spent many hours teaching it, and some of you were in my trainings. Then I went on to train about smartphones, which is a much older, we can say older, technology. And what I plan is really to share with you a lot more technology. I will continue sharing information about AI, about how to use your smartphone, but I did get many requests about other things. And I really enjoyed the great feedback I was getting, actually seeing the impact this was having. And it did make me think, what is this common thread? Okay, so AI is very new. Smartphones have been with us for a while, but why are people drawn to this? Now, you might say that it was because of complexity, because these things can actually be very complicated, okay, especially as these devices get more and more complicated, and we many times we need to see things and understand things in simpler terms. But I think I understood something that I think is much more profound. So it's true, we can say that there are some frustrating things, like getting a device such as a phone and seeing it so complicated. But the really profound idea in my mind is that harnessing technology is like harnessing anything that seems complex to us in the beginning. And we all have learned very complex things. For example, one of the very complex things that people have learned is reading. I'll give you a very famous quote that I like from Mark Twain. Mark Twain said, "A person who won't read has no advantage over one who cannot read." So you might be you might know how to read, but if a person doesn't spend their time reading books, then they're not going to get any benefit. And in that case, they have no advantage over someone who just cannot read. Now, I can say something similar about technology, and the surprising fact is that most people who, even those who consider themselves technical, most people don't really use the wonderful technology that we have. And one thing I can say, that a person who won't use technology has no advantage over someone who doesn't understand technology. And you're at the point, or my goal is to get you to really understand technology, the tools, so that you can use them. You'll see that you'll have great advantages over people who you might consider who are more tech-oriented or younger. And I'm here to tell you that it's not complex once you start going into and step-by-step figuring things out. So so today I want to talk about this in a more broader sense, and I call this becoming a better you. The profound idea is that when you learn to use technology, not for the tech, but for the purpose of growth, then you grow quite a lot. Okay, Margaret writes, spot on. Thank you, Margaret. So really what I would like to start with is not technology at all. I think just speaking about technology can be very boring to people who are not just interested in technology. Okay, so I'd like to begin not with technology, but with some ideas and really open questions, I can say. And I have 6 big open questions that I will ask you regarding different places in our lives where we can all grow and become a better us. This is how I look at things. I heard a great speaker pose a statement. I'll say who it was in a second, but he said, without knowing you personally, I can say with absolute certainty that there is something you can do today that will make your life much, much worse. This is what he said. And I'm sure you can think of at least one thing where you can make things worse. But the opposite, he said, is true. You always can choose one thing that will make your life better. And the important thing is that we have a choice. There is always something we can do to make some aspect of our lives better. Now, think of what would happen to your life if you did one thing every day that makes life better. Now, we can do it with many, many different different areas, and technology is one of them. But I'm here to talk about how technology could make our life better. But the whole idea is that I'm not here to just know about technology. I'm here to recognize where I want my life to be better, and then I can present many, many things where technology can help with that. Okay. Now this applies to myself as well. I can always get better, and no matter what your age is, your health, where you live, how many children you have or grandchildren, how much money you have, there is always one thing that we can all do, which is to become a better us or a better you. And this results in a better life. So this is the big reasoning for what I want to do with you. I hope it's a good enough reason for you to share with me. So what I would like really is to pose to you is different areas of growth and ask you some questions of what you want to achieve in these areas. There are more areas than these 6, but I selected 6 which I think are very, very important. And on each of them, I will also share with you where I think technology can really, really help. Now, later on in my live trainings and in my YouTube videos, I'm going to share a lot of how to do these things. So today we want to just open our mind. And you'll really be amazed from the motivation we get from this, just understanding where we want to go. And the person I was talking about before, very, very famous speaker, maybe some of you know him, his name is Zig Ziglar. And Zig Ziglar, and if you search for content by him, YouTube, for example, you'll just find amazing, amazing pieces of content. Write his name down. I learned so much from him over the years. And yes, Moich writes lots of spots on. Thank you. And Steve writes sales. Sales, definitely. And he's done a lot more than teach about sales. One of the best sales seminars I heard was something that he gave in 1984, and there is a recording of it, which is just amazing. And he said, hope is the foundational quality of all change, and encouragement is the fuel which keeps hope alive. So I want this to be a place for us to get this encouragement and get this hope. And regarding hope, there is a very, very famous researcher, and his name is Charles Snyder. You see, I have a typo here. So let's say remove this asterisk, and exactly, okay, Charles Snyder. And Charles Snyder, he's done his work in what's called positive psychology, and he developed what's called hope theory. So when Zig Ziglar speaks of hope, what is hope? What gives us hope? And he said something that which was very well put and very profound. He said hope is a combination of 3 things. He said it's goals plus pathways plus agency. This is what he said. I'll explain what that means. Goals is something worth pursuing. Okay, pathways are the ways to get there, and the agency is our motivation to do it. Okay, you can write this down. I think this is very important. If we can get all these three things together, then this really constitutes hope for us, and this gives us a lot of drive to move forward. Now, I cannot give you the goals. I can raise some good questions which you can answer. Everyone chooses their own goals. I can, however, give you a lot of pathways, at least from the technological perspective. So this is where my unique approach comes in. Not all goals can be achieved by technology, but so many can be definitely helped with technology. And I can also give you a lot of motivation by showing you how simple these things are. And if something is more complex, how we can divide it into just smaller parts and go step by step. And once we get some practice, then things become much more simple. And you will really find that you can do a lot with technology that many people do not know how to accomplish. So what I want to do now, okay, it's a short introduction, and now I want to go through these 6 different areas. And I will pose some questions, and if you are willing to share on the chat some of the thoughts that come to you, then I'll be very happy to read. And I think also this inspires others. When we share our goals, then others think, well, maybe I can look at that. You'll see you can get many ideas just by listening to what the other people are saying. So let's explore our goals on our journey to become a better us. And the first area that I want to talk about is connection with others. Connection with others. And you know, I'm not a life coach, and I don't plan to really give a complete talk about each of these subjects, but I've learned from so many people, and I've chosen these 6 areas with our own growth in mind. And connection is one of the key points for growth and for emotional well-being. When we are connected to others, then we feel a lot better, and we develop better relationships. And in general, our own network, personally and also professionally, creates connections for us, and our lives are really richer. Was the word I was looking for, when we are in touch with others. Now, some people, when they lose connection, they go and start looking within, and they spend a lot of time just with themselves. They might become a lot lonelier. They might become depressed, and a lot of things can be made much better when we are just better connected with others. Okay, Moich writes, my goal is to die before I die of the non-dual paradigm, along with the inquiry, who am I? Okay, I will need to read this probably a few times to understand better. And then the question that I would pose, or questions, are, who are the people I want to strengthen my connection with? For some of it's our friends. You know, I have a few friends that I hardly speak with. That's the truth, okay? Because we're in our day-to-day lives. But if we stop for a second and we ask, okay, who do I want to be in touch with? Okay, then suddenly names will pop up. Okay, it could be family members, it could be siblings, it could be children, it could be grandchildren. But there are people I want to strengthen my connection with. And I could ask, what kind of personal or professional network do I want? So who do I want to be connected with? Okay. Here Moich writes, fellow sages. Nava writes, Kate, have you met at ACIM? Okay, so you can find this out, okay? So really, if any of you wants to share, what your thoughts are, where you want to increase your connection, then I think this is a very, very important thing to share. And even if you don't, just write this down for yourself. The minute we have something written down for us, then it becomes this part of this hope theory. This becomes our goal. First of all, we say, okay, this is something, these are people I want to strengthen my connection with. Now, how do we do that? Or how does technology help us do that? Okay, Margaret writes, making time for friends, hobbies, community, things outside work. Great. Many times we might find ourselves at work all day long, and then we are exhausted. We don't have time for anything else, and the day goes by, and another day, and another day. Okay, so yeah, great. Thank you, Margaret, for sharing this. So there are many different areas of our technology, okay, or our technology life, where we can expand our connections. Okay, I'll start with something that you already know, which is the power of social media. Social media. Now, social media is a great connecting tool, and I see people who know each other communicate through social media very, very easily. And some examples could be Facebook, could be Instagram, could be X, what formerly was called Twitter. On the professional side, there is LinkedIn. Now, we do know these exist, but you'll be surprised that many people have just one place that they go to. There are not many places. And if you go only to one place, then you always get the same experience. You always get the same experience. Now, I'll tell you that when I go into Facebook, I have a completely different experience than when I go into my Instagram account. And when I go into my X account. And when I go into my professional account, I could say in LinkedIn, where I do all kinds of activities in LinkedIn. Now, these might not be the connections with your very, very, very close friends or family, but these are places which really get you out there in two ways. One is seeing others, and Facebook, for example, is very good in pulling up people that you may have not heard from in a long time, and suddenly you see them. Suddenly you see them because it makes these connections. If you know this person, you might know this person. If you know this person, you might know this person. So this really increases the connection. And there is the other side of you being active in the social media, which doesn't mean necessarily posting all kinds of content, although this is of course possible. It means commenting, it means getting into conversations, and some people spend their entire days in conversations on social media. I don't really recommend it, but if you want to feel comfortable with social media as a technology, then I really recommend having accounts and profiles in more than one place. In more than one place, because you'll be surprised. It opens you up to many different areas, and it gets you to meet people that you haven't met in other places, even people that you know. So this is one type of technology, this power of social media. Of course, all of these come with their own apps. Okay, Moich writes Zoom. I will speak about Zoom in a second. So the other type of technology for connection is communication apps. Communication apps, I'll give you some examples. Of course, you know most of them. WhatsApp, very well known, widely used, great communication app. I think it's one of the most important apps to have on your phone. And when I did my Mastering Your Smartphone course, then I had a lot to say about WhatsApp, because there is so much you can do using WhatsApp. But there are excuse me, but there are others. There is Telegram, there is Instagram. It turns out if you are using Instagram, you can communicate. It's called DM, direct message, okay, in Instagram, okay. Yes, Steve, right. WeChat, Chinese, yeah. So there are other apps, of course, yeah. And but in Instagram you have chat. In Messenger, which is the Facebook Messenger, you have chat. And those who really, really like their privacy, there is a very famous app called Signal. Now, you don't need all of these, but I'll tell you that I use most of them. I use most of them. And I want to share this with you because it's not only WhatsApp. Why do I use, for example, Instagram? Because sometimes I receive from people I know great content that they found on Instagram, and when they share it using Instagram. So I get a message, I have an Instagram message, okay, which is different than a WhatsApp message. Or if someone wants to get in touch with me and I have an Instagram profile, they might write me in Instagram, okay. So this is something that's part of daily life. But if you try to really stay away from apps, or have as little apps as you can and not be connected, then you'll be less connected. That's the truth. Okay, so communication apps is a huge category. Okay, and I'll have a lot more to say about different apps and what they're good for. But like I said, today is more of an overview and to get our minds thinking. Okay, Moich wrote before Zoom, then of course, Zoom, being on live calls. And when I say use Zoom, it's more than, I sent you a Zoom link and you clicked on the link and you joined this Zoom call. But how many of you create your own Zoom calls? Okay, not many people create their own Zoom calls. And I want you to know that you can create a Zoom account. And if you know how to set it up, you can create your own Zoom calls. Examples similar to Zoom, of course, there is Zoom, there is Google Meet, which is also free and very easy to use. There is Microsoft Teams. There is more platforms than Zoom. But now let's look back at this question of who do we want to be more connected with. Just imagine if on your own initiative, you opened a Zoom account and created a Zoom meeting and invited your friends. It could be your family. Suppose you want to meet with some family. You send them an invitation and you say, okay, next Thursday at 4 p.m., I'm inviting you to a Zoom meeting. And they'll say, yes, I can make it. And you click the link. You are the host of that meeting. You let them in, and you might share things that you have seen, and suddenly you have created this opportunity which wouldn't happen without this initiative. And it's not only the initiative, it's being able to use the technology. And to use the technology, we need to know a little bit about how to use our computer, so that there is a camera, so that there is a working microphone, and we need to know how to install software, for example, installing Zoom. This can all be easily explained. So when I explain something like this, it's for a reason. It's for you to use it, okay? So I see there are some comments here. Which writes, not yet, probably about using Zoom. Kate, Meet is better where WhatsApp video calls are not allowed, as in the UAE. So yeah, there are in different areas of the world, there are different apps that work better. Which writes, how do we create a Zoom account for this purpose? You go to zoom.us, that's the website, Zoom, ZOOM.us, and there is a button there, sign up, that's all, okay? It's very easy to sign up, get your own account, and Zoom allows 45 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, of a free call. After 45 minutes, I think it shuts down and you need to start another call, okay? Gary asks, is there a cost for Zoom? Not for the 45 minutes, which you can use again and again and again. If you want longer meetings or to record meetings like I do, then you pay a small amount, but you can use it for free. You can use Google Meet for free, and it's just amazing. And hopefully I've given some of you this idea that you can host this yourself. Okay. Okay, Nava says 40 minutes, not 45. Okay, 40 minutes. Okay. And it gives you this timer. The 40 minutes are up in a minute or something like that. And then you can say, okay, let's log off and then log in again. That's it. Okay. Which did you mean to set up a Zoom session? Go to zoom.us. Yeah, you set up your own username, and you'll need to download Zoom, and then you'll set it up. I won't go into the details because we are in an overview. Okay, I'll move forward to the next subject, because we have I see a lot to cover, and we're already almost half an hour together here. The second place I want to look at is expanding your knowledge. So we spoke about expanding your connections, but expanding knowledge, which means we have more power, okay, because we have more knowledge. We make better decisions, okay. Something popped up for me. We make better decisions. We know how to solve problems. Knowledge is just interesting to many people, just to know more, expand our view of the world, okay? Knowledge could be things which are very practical, like languages. I could have languages as a completely different category, but I would say it's under knowledge. Knowledge makes your mind sharper, more curious, okay? Getting and just getting more knowledge, being more knowledgeable. Personally, I would say is a big passion of mine. I love learning, and the reason I can teach a lot is that I learn so much all day long. So the question for you is, what knowledge would I like to expand? And again, if you are willing to share, definitely please share. But definitely write for yourselves. Where are the areas? What areas would I like to know more about? What knowledge would I want to expand? Now, where does technology come in? Okay, so Kate writes AI apps, or rather free AI apps. Great. There are many, many places to learn about that. Okay, Klima writes AI prompts. Definitely AI, and I'm sure that you'll learn a lot from me more about AI. Leanne, AI learning languages, Duolingo and others. Okay, great. So Margaret writes about languages, and we can learn about many, many different topics. One of the areas that I want to mention is called MOOCs, MOOCs. Okay, MOOCs came out a few years ago, and it's short for Massive Open Online Course. That's the acronym, and it started with really universities offering complete courses, which is why it's called Massive, but it's not only universities now, and they're completely open and free to use. Massive Open Online Course. Okay, here I read a few more languages. AI media. I've got AI installed my WhatsApp and his language translations. Canva. Okay, create my own app. So Gary writes, and this means learning programming. Excellent, excellent. Julie, AI organizing, altering photos, etc., etc. Great. So there are so many places that you can learn these things, and obviously learn a lot, a lot of different topics. So few examples, places you want to check out. One of them is called Coursera. They started, I think they're the biggest, and you'll be amazed at what courses they have. Very, very long. You can spend really hours and hours on each and every course. Gary, if you want to create your own app, you'll find many, many courses in Coursera, really from starting out up until creating an app. edX is another one. Udacity is another one. There are a few more. There are actually websites which aggregate all the open courses that are out there. But I would start with Coursera. They have an app, by the way, that you can download, and there are courses you can sign up and get certificates, and then you pay to get a certificate of completion, but you don't need to pay. You can just say, I want to audit the course, And then when you audit the course, you just go through the content for free. Okay. Tima writes, Coursive. Yeah, there are many, many websites. Thank you. Moich writes, curiously, when absorbed in the non-dual paradigm process, seems like the knowledge needed in the moment somehow presents itself. Happy to discuss with interested people if you get in touch. Okay, so anyone who wants to discuss further, Moich writes his email over there. Okay, so this is a complete world of knowledge, the the massive open online courses. Another complete world of knowledge is endless audio content in podcasts. Now, you might have been listening to podcasts, but if not, then I really, really encourage finding out about podcasts. And I'll have a lot more to say about podcasts. But podcasts are very similar to someone having their own radio channel and creating programs and content and interviews and putting them out there just for listening. And today there is just so much content in podcast on anything that you could imagine. So if you, for example, some of you wrote AI, if you were to go into Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I don't have a list here, but you can write Spotify, for example, or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, and you do a search, or you go to a website called Listen Notes. Listen Notes. I didn't write it here, but you can write it for you. ListenNotes.com. It's a search engine for podcasts. And you just type AI, you'll get tons and tons and tons of podcasts about AI and complete channels about AI that you can listen to when you go for a walk, when you wash the dishes, when you drive, whenever you have free time, you can have audio content. Which relates to another source of knowledge, which is endless books. And books can be in audio or in written form. And today, where we don't, when we think of the digital world, then we think of examples like Kindle and Audible, which I don't know, for some reason are both Amazon products. But these allow us really to have on our device, you can have a Kindle reader on your phone with hundreds and hundreds of books in there. You can have an account on Audible, which is audiobooks, and on any topic that you can think about, you have, I would say, really the entire world's knowledge at your fingertips to read or to listen. This is a huge, huge revolution. And it's all thanks to technology. And when we grew up, okay, most of us here, myself included, we didn't have any of what's here. We had books. They were very limited in terms of the number and the access. And this is and we really needed to search for them. Okay. Are Kindle and Audible part of Amazon Prime? No, they're not. They're separate. Okay, so they're not part of Prime, but they're worth investing in if you are really consuming knowledge. There are, of course, other apps and other websites. I cannot mention all of them. There is a great app that you can check, which is Libby. Libby. I didn't write it over here, but Libby is a library app, and you will need to connect to your own local library. But surprisingly, you'll see that they have so many libraries they are connected with. You need to put in your library card number or membership number, and you are connected, and you can borrow digital books from that library. It's just amazing. So all for free. So really great places for books. There are, of course, specialized learning apps. You mentioned some of them. Okay, so I will mention them as well. Duolingo for learning languages. It's not the only one. It's a very good one. Brilliant if you're interested in science. Khan Academy if you're interested in math and science. They all have their own special apps, websites and apps, which we can access. Okay, Julie writes encyclopedias we relied on, right? Yeah, we did. And the largest encyclopedia was Encyclopedia Britannica. And to have these, I don't know, 20 or so volumes means you had all the world's knowledge with you. Today, you have a lot more than that, much more accessible. We really live in a very good age, and we are very fortunate to have all of this. Okay, now I can't mention learning without not mentioning online content. Okay, online content in general, there is free content and of the highest quality, and I'll mention two places. Both of them you know, but one of them you may not have thought about. One of them is YouTube, where you can find just endless content on any topic. And the other, surprisingly to many people, is TikTok. TikTok is a social network, which is considered by many to be for very, very young people, but it's not. I will tell you here, it's not. And you will find people our age creating a lot of content. And if you search within TikTok, and I recommend you do that, on your favorite subject, you will be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and viewing and viewing for a very long time. Just be careful, it's very addictive. But definitely something that's worthwhile, because you learn a lot, okay? So so these are all examples. These are all technologies that didn't exist just a few years ago. Walter writes, Open Library is good. You can borrow books for an hour at a time, but I've always been able to borrow again for as long as I want. That's great. Open Library. There are huge content sites. There is archive.org if you are interested. So, you know, there are many that come up. So I'm just touching upon a few things, and please do follow my content. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, because I'll be just mentioning these and going deeper into these topics. Okay. Now I cannot also not mention AI. So today you can learn almost anything using AI platforms. Examples would be ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and the leading search engine or AI search engine, which is called Perplexity. And you can search for anything in these platforms. And this is where I can actually do a quick example. Let me go to ChatGPT for a second. And just as an example, no, you know what? I'll go to Perplexity, not to ChatGPT. Okay, it's a search engine. I could go to ChatGPT and do the same thing. And this is Perplexity. And let's say I want to find out about hope theory. What is hope theory? Okay. Then I get an answer. It searches for me and it summarizes it for me. Hope theory is a psychological concept developed by Charles Snyder that defines hope as a positive motivational state, and it talks about goals and pathways and agency, and you can go into it. Very, very, very quick learning. I can get links over here to videos and to more text, and immediately I have basic knowledge of something that I would like to learn. So this is just an example with Perplexity. I could do the same with ChatGPT or Claude, and because this is something that's already been there for a while, it'll give me great answers. Okay, so this is all about expanding knowledge, and I hope this is exciting for you, and it gives you some ideas of really expanding your knowledge. I want to go to the third aspect, which is again, from our personal growth. We spoke about increasing our connections and increasing our knowledge. Now I want to talk about creativity, developing your creativity. We are all very creative people. And I think there are just such amazing tools that can make us more creative and have us really release our creativity. And I'm very excited about what we can do with technology regarding creativity. And creativity brings out innovation and our self-expression. We think outside the box. It's in writing, in creating, in music, in drawing, in design, in so many different areas. And really the question, I don't think I have it written here, but the question is, what part do I want to develop in my creativity? Where do I want to become more creative? And I was asked many times about different creative tools, such as Canva, which I plan to do specific trainings on, and other tools. So there are many, many, many tools in different areas of creativity, and of course, one of the great tools that we know today, and some of you maybe have been in my complete deep dive for AI art, but I always say that AI is the new brush, and we use AI text and we use AI images as a brush. I want to give you a quick example, and if you've seen my new YouTube channel, then I've created these thumbnails, which are the YouTube images that appear at the front when you go into the channel, and I want to show you how I, just as an example, how I used a number of tools, and I actually used 4 different tools to create those. I'll show you 3 of them. One is it's called the ideogram, or ideogram, but I call it ideogram. I've heard many people refer to it as ideogram. And then I used Midjourney, which is an image tool. Ideogram is also an image tool. And then I put my face in there. I used the face swapper, which I'll show you. And then I used some graphic software. I didn't use Canva this time, but you could use Canva. So just as a quick example, let me switch to ideogram. Okay, so in ideogram, for example, you saw this in one of the in one of my videos, my first video. It had this image, "Become a Better You with Google Arts and Culture," and then there was this photo of me, this AI photo of me on the bottom left. And what you see here on the right is that I used the prompt. This is in ideogram, and I just wrote a text, "Become a Better You with Google Arts and Culture." Now they have a feature called Magic Prompt. I won't demo it, I'm just showing you the end result. And ideogram took my prompt and created from it a much longer quote, a painting of a room with a large screen displaying the text, "Become a Better You with Google Arts and Culture. The room is a comfortable seating, plants, and a table with a lamp." And it gave me a number of options. And this is the option that I chose. And I used that. So I downloaded that. But then I wanted a photo of myself. So I used another brush, which is text prompt in Midjourney. Okay. And in Midjourney, here is the photo that I created in Midjourney. Okay. I actually took my own photo. This is my own photo here on the right. And I wrote to Midjourney a smiling man in the style of Van Gogh. So it gave me this picture. Now, this maybe is a bit resembling myself, but not exactly. This is why I went to another tool, which is called Face Swapper. Okay, let me see if I can do it online with you together. This is Face Swapper. Okay, and it lets you add your face and then add an image. And then I can click Start Face Swapping. So it's uploading the 2 images, and it's going to try to insert my face into this Midjourney created face. It's processing, and hopefully it'll show me something similar to what I've used. So yeah, now it's showing me the new photo with my face included in it. And then I took it and I used something similar to Canva and put it within a circle and just added it to the, so if you go to YouTube, to my YouTube channel, you'll see this image with myself at the bottom, and you'll understand what I did. And it didn't take me too long, and I didn't use any graphic designer to create any of this. okay? But I used AI tools in this case. So this is, of course, things that are available to us, and you know that I'll have a lot more to say about this and to teach about it. So this is what I call the new branch, the AI text and the AI image. There are many image generators. These are some of the known ones. Bing Create, which is the Microsoft tool, which is free to use. Ideogram, which is free to use. Okay, if you need to create more photos or more images, then there is a paid option, but generally it's free to use. Leonardo AI is free and there is a paid option. Midjourney is paid. They recently released actually a free version which lets you create just a few images, and then you have to go to the paid option. Okay, Klima writes, what is your YouTube channel? So it's really, I'll write it here, YouTube, but I sent it by email and also in the WhatsApp groups. And then it's youtube.com/@ Amir Hardouf, I think. Yes, you can try that. I just typed it in. If it's the wrong link, then just look at the WhatsApp groups or the email, and it's in there. You won't miss it, and I'll make sure you don't miss it. Okay, so this is where I do recommend subscribing to the new channel, because there will be all kinds of training, including this one and the shorter trainings that I released. So there are many different image generators. There are graphic design tools. If we think of technologies we want to get acquainted with, examples are Canva, Procreate, which is a complete tool for designers for creating. And of course, amazing creative tools right in your smartphone. In your smartphone, there are just many creative tools. Examples, your phone's camera. One of the strongest cameras that you can find today is in your phone. If you have a relatively new phone, that it has a very strong camera. True, if you are if your hobby is photography and you have these enormous large cameras with huge lenses, then you get better results than your phone. But the phone's camera is simply amazing. There is apps like Google Photos. There are specialized apps for just working with photos and working with images. I'll go a lot deeper into this later on. But these are all tools the technology gives us to be more creative. And I'll tell you, once you start creating these things, okay, and I spoke mostly about images, but there is a whole creative part of creating text and creating music. So it's not only about images, but this is just the time that we have. But once you start creating, you see that there is a huge impact on ourselves. We really feel elevated once we create something and we push it out to the world. So we have artists over here who can definitely relate to this, and I think today we are all very creative. I don't know if I would call all of us artists, but definitely we're creative and we're creators, and we can create a lot using technology. The next area is our health and wellness. And another great question to ask ourselves, what do I want to improve in my physical health? What do I want to improve in my mental health? Some people feel, for example, very stressed, and maybe a good goal for me is to become more relaxed, less stressed, okay, less anxious. Some people want to be more active physically. Maybe you want to be able to walk a longer distance. Maybe you want to run 10 kilometers or a half marathon. It doesn't matter. But everyone can set their own physical goals and mental goals, okay? And there are many technology tools to help with that, okay? Once again, you can share in the chat or just write down for yourself, what do I want to improve in my health or in my physical health or in my mental well-being. We all have places we can improve in these areas. How can technology help us? Well, first of all, there is fitness tracking devices and apps. Now, I mentioned a lot of websites and apps, but we should mention, when we mention technology, we should mention physical devices. One of the physical devices that I definitely mentioned is our smartphone. So this is just a great physical device, but there are all kinds of assistants. If you use Alexa, for example, on Amazon devices, I'll explain more about these in a different session. Fitness devices, what we call wearables, things that you can wear. Some examples: Fitbit is a wearable, Apple Watch is a wearable, Runkeeper is an app which can help you track your walking, your running, also free to use. That these are some examples of how we can get more fit. Okay, Margaret writes, I use watch for tracking swimming length. Great. Okay, Moich writes, what are the main headings you're referring to? You said health and wellness. I'm referring to areas where we want to set ourselves important goals. So one was connection with others. Then another was learning and knowledge. Then another was creativity. And now number 4 is our health. We want to set good goals for these areas. We have these good goals and we have the tools needed and the capacity to reach them, then we can really improve our lives. This is why I call this becoming a better you. On the mental side, there are tools for meditation and mindfulness. I'll mention 2 of those. One is called Calm, calm.com. It's a great website and app. I was actually subscribed to it for a while, and it has all kinds of meditations and all kinds of music. It has things for children like bedtime stories, and it's just amazing what they've put in there. Another very similar is called Mindspace, and there are a number of those, but these are, I think, the two biggest ones. Okay, so this is all about our health, both mentally and physically. And imagine this: is if you choose these as goals and you increase your connection with others and you increase your knowledge and you increase your health and your creativity, and I'll go to the next one very soon, you really live a better life. This is the way I look at it. Okay, and the next one, which relates to a better life, is just having fun. Just having fun. And people many times spend most of their days never having fun. And this is a very definite implication on our emotional well-being, also on our creativity and our relaxation in general, and our ability to produce results. But even just looking at it very, very simply, just to enjoy our lives. Okay, now how can technology help us have more fun? The question that we want to ask, and this is the question, is how do I want to enjoy my life more? In what areas? In what areas? Okay, Moich writes, 1000%, cannot say that enough. Yes, I agree. And I think many of us are not having enough fun. And it's a good question to ask, how can we have fun with whatever we are doing? So right now I'm training and I'm having a lot of fun. Hopefully you are as well. And I really appreciate everyone who's here from the time we started. We're nearly an hour together. Maybe I'll be a bit more than an hour today, just to cover everything. I want to show you some areas of technology where there is a lot of fun. One of them is streaming content. Streaming content, there are many providers. These are examples: Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu. There are different types of streaming content providers. And there are actually streaming content providers also on very specific topics. So you can find specific, for example, if you if you like playing an instrument, you can find streaming specifically for lessons on instruments. Okay. So I didn't mention, like I said, I didn't mention everything, but these are like big 3 places where you can have streaming content, and they have all kinds of entertainment, and these are usually very, very low cost. Okay, so that's streaming content. Another area is discovering the world, which is a lot of fun. It's not only knowledge, it's also a lot of fun. Some examples: there's Google Earth. Google Earth is a tremendous app. You can discover things that you cannot believe. You can travel within places. There is Google Flights, where you can find flights if you want to fly to different areas. There is TripAdvisor, where you can get really, really good recommendations of where to go and what to do wherever you go. And even Instagram, I mentioned here. This is why I wrote even. You wouldn't think that Instagram is a place to discover the world, but it is. It is, because when you use Instagram, just using the search on Instagram, you can get to places that you've never ever been. And I find this a lot of fun. And when you start, the nice thing about the social networks is that when you start browsing things that are interesting to you, then you get more and more of these. For some reason, I probably watched a few videos of the African savannah with animals and all kinds of videos from the animal world, and suddenly Facebook started choosing for me more and more and more of these, and it really stops my scrolling, because these are very, very interesting, and I get more and more and more. Suddenly I know more about what's happening in these areas with these animals, just because it's fun. That's all. That's all. Also within fun is just mastering hobbies. Okay, hobbies you could master. For example, playing an instrument, cooking, okay, chess, for example, or generally online gaming. Okay, taking on a new sport. Recently, I started going back into chess, and after many years of not having anything to do with chess, suddenly I returned to being interested, and it's amazing the amount of apps I found and the different ways to both play and learn just for fun. Just for fun. I'll never be a professional chess player. That's highly unlikely, I would say. But I will have a lot of fun with this. This I'm definitely sure of. And I see I'm spending more time there than on other things right now, just because it's so well put together. Okay. So I do want you to take this as a goal in itself, where you can induce more fun in your lives. And the last thing, this is number 6. Okay. So what you wanted me to put in a list, so I won't put in the list right now, but we had connection, we had knowledge, we had creativity, we had health, we had fun, and now we're going to go to number 6. Now, before I look at more of your comments, now, right? Where can you learn a musical instrument? Well, a good place to start is YouTube. Okay, good place to start is YouTube, and when you start following YouTube, you will get many suggestions of specified content. I don't remember off the top of my head. There is one specific channel which is just streaming content for playing instruments. Okay, if I remember it right now, then I'll write it down in the chat. Wendy writes, I taught myself to play the ukulele to a high level from YouTube videos. That's amazing, Wendy. And if I can recommend one thing regarding musical instruments, do pick up a teacher. Do find a teacher. And I returned to playing the violin recently, and I immediately found podcasts, and of course a lot of YouTube videos, and actually I was very surprised to see that there are many teachers teaching even online, but even single lessons, Wendy, with a professional ukulele teacher, I think it'll really get your level up after you've done all this great work. Okay, thank you. So Number six. Number six is legacy. Legacy. And legacy is what we want to leave for future generations. And good questions to ask are, what memories do I want to leave with others? And what contributions? I want to tell you that the older we get, the more life experience we have, and the more we want this shared with others. And I think it's a very, very good idea to do. And we have so many things that we have learned that we can share with others. And there are specific technologies that we can do for working on our legacy. And I'll mention just a few. There is a whole world of digital archiving. This is, building your family tree and your heritage. Two very well-known places is Ancestry.com and MyHeritage. And if you are working on telling stories of your life or writing a book about your life, a great way to do that is start with your family tree, and then you'll find that you have many, many stories to tell about all of the people. And these tools actually help you find people related to your own families. And then finally, I want to mention something that once again, I believe most of you have not done, but I want you to have this as an idea, which is your own media channels, putting your own content out there. Two examples could be your own YouTube channel or your own podcast. By the way, to create a YouTube channel and put videos on it, which could be private, by the way, it could be only shared with your family or friends, and it could be public. Very, very easy to do. You won't believe it, but to create a podcast is very easy to do. It is very easy to do. You could have a podcast today. There are platforms for creating and storing and hosting podcasts, and you have so much knowledge and experience with certain areas. You could definitely put this online. So if you haven't thought about this idea, I want you to at least consider it as an option, okay? Even if you're not going to do this today. And one of my goals, like I said, is to go through these technologies and more and explain them in much more detail. Maybe if there is enough interest, I'll do a whole series on how someone can create a podcast. And definitely, I love hearing if this is something that you would like to learn. Definitely, it's easy to do. It's really easy to do. Okay. Moitra writes, my son has taught himself to play piano, now working towards level 6 exam. Excellent, excellent. Wonderful. So thank you for sharing. And this is the 6th area. And really, just before we end today, I know we're a few minutes over the hour, but before we end today, I do want to ask you a question. Please write in the chat. What are your main takeaways from today? Even one thing that you that's a new idea for you. Okay, so Julie writes, so much to think about. Thank you. One thing that you might want to share, before we end today. Steve writes, lot to do. Okay, yeah, there is a lot to do. I really think that even selecting one thing and saying, okay, this is something I want to do, I think it's great. Okay, Julie writes, let me see, so much to think about. Okay, a lot to do. Kate, try creating my own podcast. Great. Julie writes, legacy is something I want to explore now. Yeah, do explore it. Margaret writes, embracing the positives of technology. Thank you so much. Yes, a podcast. I'm glad this idea of having your own podcast is something that you are considering. Okay. Wendy writes, I've just downloaded Perplexity to explore. Great. They have an app. You can use Perplexity to learn a lot of new things. Margaret, how to avoid overwhelm. By the way, this is a topic to learn. Okay. If you write how to avoid overwhelm, you'll get many, many good ideas in Perplexity, in ChatGPT, in YouTube, in podcasts. Okay. Steve writes, thanks. Some good stuff as always. Thank you. Leanne writes, have to explore more, especially on the art side and languages. I'm learning Spanish. Great. Okay. Kate writes, technology is there to help us. Right. It's only a means. It's only a means. It's not the goal in itself. Yannick writes, expanding my knowledge through Coursera. Great. Look into Coursera. It's just a huge world. Huge world. Okay. Kate writes, thank you for today's session. Useful as always. Thank you. Moich writes, there is so much. Actually, hearing what I shared reminds me what is really important to me, which I love to share with interested people. Great. All right, so inspired by all the treasure chest of possibilities, universe of hope opening up. Thank you, Nava. Water writes, hadn't heard of perplexity before, would check it out. Great. Helps me with my Spanish. Great. Julie Gary writes, create an app or a digital book. Excellent. Those of you who want to create apps or go into technology, there are so many great courses. I didn't mention one place which is called Udemy, where they have very, very low fee, great courses on anything. And if you're interested in programming, a great place to start on Udemy. Okay, Adrian writes, so much to go through from today's session. Thank you. The lead writes, wonderful, open up a lot of doors to technology. Gary writes, I love the way you share your knowledge. Thank you, Gary. Yannick writes, thank you once again, Amir. So thank you so much for all these comments. And I hope this resonated with all of you. Last app I mentioned, Udemy, U-D-E-M, D-E-M-Y, yes, Udemy, okay? Yeah, let me put it in the chat. I've purchased many, many courses there, okay? So, and you'll find really, if you want to get into to get started in something, it's really it's a very, very small investment, and you just get so much knowledge on a particular topic. Okay, excellent. So thank you so much. There is of course a lot more to say about everything, because all of these we could take each slide and create a full-blown lesson or a series about it. So I intend to do that. Okay, as time goes on, share more about technology, about AI, smartphones, of course, but we have many other things to cover and discover. So follow me on what I put out in YouTube, which is going to be shorter clips, live trainings like this, which I intend to do more of. We'll have more of the longer series. You know, I did a few paid series, so we'll have more of these. I've started recording them and putting them as digital courses. So if you're interested in the 10-session smartphone course, it's on my website, which is amirhardouf.com. You can find it there. So there's going to be more of these, just so that technology becomes more accessible, with the idea of becoming a better us. So thank you so much. And we're going to see each other soon again. Meanwhile, have a great rest of the day. Bye for now. Bye-bye.